Mr. Garrett for 5 minutes.
I thank the chairman. Going back to my opening statement, given the ongoing concerns being raised by the American public about this administration's attempting to bully organizations and groups that disagree with them politically, and in light of the chairman's comments with regard to some specific examples, can you commit formally today to removing the mention of a corporate political disclosure requirement from your Reg Flex agenda?
Mr. Chairman, I think my response to that is that essentially the petitions for requiring the political contributions are being reviewed in our corporate finance division. That review is not completed. I can't prejudge the issue until I am the beneficiary of that analysis. No one is working on a proposed rule now, and the Reg Flex agenda, I think, will come to me, somewhat later in my tenure than today.
Okay. And just to spend 10 seconds on the examples that the chairman raised, I think your response was the difference between materiality and important. And secondly, you said these would be fact-specific to a particular company.
Materiality is,
right.
Tends to be fact-specific.
But
yes.
Any rule that you would promulgate, if you were to adopt any of those that the chairman was suggesting, would not be for a specific company. It would be for all public companies, would it not?
That's correct. And the petitions do make the argument that such disclosure would be material across companies. But I take your point.
And the three main core missions of the SEC are what? Protecting the investors, ensuring orderly and fair markets, and facilitating capital formation. Using those as your core missions, do any of those examples that the chairman just gave you fall into any of those categories? Facilitating capital formation, fair and orderly markets, protecting investors?
Again, those arguments, as I understand it, have been made in the petitions. I don't think it would be appropriate for me to comment and prejudge those arguments until I've gotten the staff's briefing.
Okay. With regard to, I'll just say it, with regard to economic analysis, your predecessor issued a memorandum last March providing guidance to SEC staff on economic analysis and SEC rulemaking. She indicated that this guidance was binding for SEC staff. Have you also indicated to your staff, do you believe this guidance is also binding on them as well?
Yes, and I fully support it, and my understanding is it's been being followed since my predecessor issued the guidance to the staff.
Without objection, I'd ask the chair to be able to put the prior memo of March 16th in.
Without objection.
Thank you. With regard to equity market structure, I know that we just had this roundtable, and that was good. A lot of back and forth. There seemed to be unanimity in certain areas where we could go forward on this. Do you agree that the SEC should conduct a comprehensive review of the equity market structure regulatory regime?
I think there's no question about that. We did issue the concept release on the equity market structure in 2010,
right.
And that work is actually continuing in that direction to do that comprehensive review.
Okay, but that one was not truly a comprehensive review back in 2010.
Well, it certainly, essentially, lots of comments came in. There was a lot of work done. The flash crash happened. Dodd-Frank happened. There was a slowdown of that review. However, it has continued and is reaching the point where it's yielding some data and analysis that I think will be very useful. But certainly, and it does recite that it is a comprehensive review of those issues.
Great. And just yesterday, I thank you. I had the opportunity to be at the rating agency roundtable that you had. Do you believe that the SEC should finalize, as I pointed out in my comments there, Section 939A before moving forward what I believe is really an unworkable and unwise idea of having the government select rating agencies or establishing new or rotating formula?
Again, we have obligations under 939A and 939F, but I'm committed to.
But should we do 939A, which is basically the first before we get on to, let's start at the beginning of the alphabet before we go down to the rest of it?
Again, I haven't, and I really can't commit to sequencing. I understand the importance of 939A. It's something we need to, carry out.
Well, the importance of it is that A is mandatory and later on is discretionary, right?
And I'm sorry, later on?
Yeah, F.
Well, we're required to do the study we're doing now, yes. I mean, and in that sense, it's not discretionary, but obviously we make a decision as to what to do following the information that came in, including at that roundtable. What I'm trying to do with all these rules and these rulemakings is to make sure that we have the bandwidth so
What-
that one doesn't detract from the other.
And the last question with regard to CFTC, I appreciate what you're all doing over at the SEC. At the SEC, the CFTC is working at a different pace than you are. Are you committed to sitting down with Gensler to see if you can actually get it done jointly, and there's no benefit of having you working at different cross purposes? That's a yes or no, I guess.
So totally committed to that. There have been a lot of discussions prior to my arrival as well, but totally committed to that.